I'm Natalie Wilson.
And I'm Katie Nordine. For the next hour, we are putting remarkable women in the spotlight. They are the mothers, daughters, sisters, partners, and friends who make our lives better.
But it's more than that. They're the women who give unselfishly to make the Piedmont Triad a better place for all. 4 women made it to the finals to be named this year's Remarkable Woman.
And we're going to meet them, and we'll reveal the winner later this hour. But we start with a woman who says she is tired of seeing young children ruin their lives with crime.
And we're talking serious crimes. A 9-year-old charged with stealing vehicles, a 15-year-old facing murder charges. Sarah Graham says she saw the struggle and knew she had to take action.
And as Haley Fixler shows us, she is now trying to connect with children before they go down the wrong path.
In a conference room with an old chalkboard and empty chairs and tables,
we're going to make things happen.
Sarah Graham created Drawers of Hope Resource Center in High Point.
And I know it's a great need here.
The need to give kids 9 to 12 years old an avenue to keep them away from crime.
A lot of organizations start with the older children, like the teens, and the teens are pretty much on their way.
Graham and her staff want to show children the positive in the world and give them the tools and role models they need to avoid the criminal charges and the court system.
They are more impressionable at that age, and we're trying to make sure that they see what's out here.
Graham spent almost 2 decades working in the criminal division at the Guilford Courthouse in High Point. She watched many kids go through the system.
Oh, Lord. It's bad. We're dealing with a lot of young people being pressured into doing things to fit in, and that's what I'm trying to get in between. Them being peer-pressured to do other things, you know, crimes, and thinking it's cool to be connected to gangs.
Now she works with elementary school children in Guilford County and sees how kids struggle.
Our goal is to just show them a different life.
With tutoring, self-motivational classes, and activities 7 days a week, Graham believes she can inspire children in High Point to do better.
If our organization can make a difference on 1 or 2 lives, we've done what God has set us out to do, is to change things.
In High Point, Haley Fixler, Fox 8 News.
The Drawers of Hope Resource Center is on East Chester Drive in High Point. It is between Deep River Road and Wendover Avenue. You can get more information at the address on the bottom of your screen. It's drawersofhoperc.org.
A lot of young people dream of finding fame and fortune as an actor or a singer. But one remarkable woman from Winston-Salem walked away from the spotlight just as it started to shine on her. I spoke with Tequila Wilson about her decision to choose her heart over Hollywood and how a new dream is now coming true.
It's hard to hear Tequila Wilson sing and not be moved. There's strength and passion in her voice that earns your attention.
Well, I've been singing all my life, and I would say I started around 7 years old, and I really didn't know what I had until I was about 15.
Tequila is someone we would affectionately describe as a church kid.
Now, I was born and raised in church, went to church all my life, prayer meetings, all-night prayer. I know about all of it.
That was a natural environment for her gift to thrive. But when she was 24, she wanted to see if there was a place for her talent in Hollywood.
What's your name?
Tequila Wilson.
Tequila? Like
Yes,
you drink tequila?
yes.
And where are you from?
I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Tequila wowed the judges.
Never mind, I'll find someone like you.
During her American Idol audition when the show was on Fox.
From you to...
Yes from me. Yes from me.
Yes, from me.
Friends and family were overjoyed watching Tequila soar towards superstardom.
I started feeling like a guilt. It had came over me, and once I got out on stage, it just felt completely weird. And then I started thinking, I can't sing about God on this stage.
A dilemma she could no longer ignore.
My heart is the gospel, and I feel like on American Idol, this competition isn't for me.
It's our loss.
You gotta follow your heart, baby.
I knew a lot of people weren't going to be excited about that or on board with that, but I did it because God told me to do it, and that was my heart.
She went on to compete in BET's gospel singing competition, Sunday Best.
After Sunday Best, I just started traveling a little everywhere, and I got a chance to sing for a lot of the gospel greats.
Now 32, Tequila's back home preparing for her debut single concert at Shekinah Glory Christian Church in Winston-Salem.
The single, You Are, is finally here. And so it's a beautiful song. It's a praise and worship song.
She's grateful to be center stage, but says it's God who deserves the spotlight.
I know that it's a concert and it's featuring me, but I just want people to come that are hurting and need to be delivered, that need healing, that need to be set free. I want them to come, and when they come, they can leave different, they can leave changed. That's all I want.
And Tequila's first single is called You Are. It came out March 19th and is available on iTunes.
Most of us depend on coffee to get the day started, but one remarkable woman depended on those beans to change her whole life. As Rashida Kaba shows us, coffee got her through dark days in prison and brewed up a bright future ahead.
It's a simple yet beloved drink. While coffee beans are the base, blending it with other ingredients is really what makes it coffee.
Let's put the cinnamon here.
For Claudia Shivers, coffee is her passion.
It does smell delicious.
She spent years studying it.
I like it better hot. So I tasted to see how I'm going to flavor it.
It helped her through a dark time when she was in federal prison on tax fraud charges.
My prison friends, right, I annoyed them because all I wanted to talk about was coffee. Anything else they wanted to talk about, I always wanted to talk about coffee. So while they were watching television in the TV room, I was reading another coffee book, how to open a coffee shop.
It's what eventually got her to launch her online coffee business, Queen Coffee Bean, named after her grandmother, Queen Esther.
In honor of her and her legacy and the things that she's taught me, because she always taught me to hold my head up and make right decisions even when it's difficult.
Claudia says coffee changed her life. Now she's using it to help others.
They look like they're all working together with one purpose. I want people to remember to just be human, just one cup at a time.
We spent a few hours with Claudia at her workspace in High Point as she mixed up some of her drinks.
If you don't drink coffee, we use it for iced coffees. We use it for desserts. We use it to make lattes.
She says the coffee beans she sells are from all over.
We have Kenyan, we have Ugandan, Tanzanian, Rwandan, and Ethiopian. I love to roast Ethiopian. And then I flavor one, so an Ethiopian cinnamon buttercream, I have that. And then we have a chocolate cherry coffee. Right now we have at least 10 different coffees.
Each package is packed with flavor and a personal touch.
Then I put a handwritten note in each package.
And every purchase helps someone else.
When you buy a bag of coffee, it goes towards us working with someone to reduce the rate of recidivism. It works towards us building a company that's going to give people a second chance.
Claudia wants you to know everything she does is intentional. Rashida Kaba, Fox 8 News.
Queen Coffee Bean is an online-only business. You'll find it at queencoffeebean.com. Well, we know COVID-19 has affected all of us. It's forced a lot of businesses to close, but for others, it's provided an opportunity.
One remarkable teenager here in the Piedmont started her own business sewing masks, and news of her creations traveled 8,000 miles away.
At just 17, Jana Yan is a successful entrepreneur.
Well, I actually own a sewing Etsy store. It has a little bit over 12,000 sales a year.
She shifted the business model to stop the spread of COVID.
So I make two different types of masks. I make SPL masks, which are for speech therapists and those who need help with lip reading. And then I also make normal masks that are 3-layer filter pocket masks for like just the general population.
Running an online store means Jana is used to getting orders from outside of the Piedmont. But she was surprised by one long-distance request. A member of the island school Okoye in the Federated States of Micronesia reached out to Jana for affordable masks.
Miss Hannah sent me a message through my Etsy store. And through there, I decided that instead of like trying to resource and make masks for cheap, I would just donate them. So I sent over like four boxes, 3 boxes full of school supplies, PPE, basic things that they requested.
The staff and students are so appreciative of Jana's kindness. They made a YouTube video showing children wearing the mask and writing thank you notes. School leaders even took the time to send this note to Guilford County schools, reading in part, Jana's generosity and humility will always be remembered.
It was really just a local project at first, and the Okoye School really helped me branch out to see whether other global communities needed masks. And like Facebook has really been a big connector for me.
Her international outreach also protecting people in Uganda and Zambia.
And that makes me feel good. I didn't really think I was going to make that big of much of an impact. It was only supposed to be a temporary project, but it really has turned into a lot more.
And Jana's outreach is done through her nonprofit, the Guilford Mask Project.
Yeah, she's donated more than 11,000 masks to help people stay safe from COVID.
One of the things that I always tell people, leave people better than the way you found them.
The Road to Kindness, one woman's nonprofit in the Triad, is proving it's a lot more than a car club, how she's steering people in the right direction.
I've seen so much negativity towards law enforcement, but I don't think people realize we're human. We go through the same struggles.
A deputy understands firsthand how violence affects families, and she's telling her story of survival that goes beyond the badge.
Plus, giving children and adults with special needs a place where they can play and learn. The remarkable woman who's made it happen right here in the Triad.
Finding evidence of unwanted pests at your home is never a pleasant discovery. They don't care who you are, how much money you have, or where you live. Get PMI's year-round protection with our triannual pest service. PMI, putting pests to rest for over 30 years.
Hi, I'm Chad with Pella Windows and Doors, where we are dedicated to providing you with the Pella experience when purchasing new windows for your home. This means one dedicated sales representative to guide you on your buying experience from your very first call through the day of installation. And with 0% financing, Pella has window options to fit any budget. Come visit our Experience Center and see the clear difference Pella has to offer. Pella Windows and Doors, designed and built just for you.
To every North Carolinian doing the work to keep us moving forward, thank you. You put on a mask to slow the spread and protect those around you. You found creative ways to stay connected to family and friends. You lent a helping hand to a neighbor in need. Let's keep it up because we're not done just yet. Until enough of us are protected by the vaccine, we need to keep protecting each other.
Although things seem hard right now, GTCC is here with opportunities for pursuing your degree or getting your education moving again. We're built for times like these, with online classes, low tuition, flexible schedules and financial aid options, along with training in today's hottest industries. GTCC is here to make the education you need more accessible and to make the brighter future you're working for more achievable. Enroll today at gtcc.edu.
We asked you to nominate a special lady in your life, and after receiving dozens of outstanding entries, we narrowed that group down to 4 remarkable women right here in the Piedmont Triad.
Tammy Rory is one of those finalists. I found she's a woman who takes a unique approach to making sure no one feels invisible.
Revving engines, screeching tires, and cars lining up well past Piedmont Dragway's entrance. Drivers eagerly awaiting a chance to run circles around the competition.
Being able to provide a safe place for people to actually drag race, as well as to do donuts and burnouts.
Tammy Rory has partnered with Greensboro Police to put the car community in a positive light.
Well, a lot of times people will show up in parking lots and they will race. They will do what you're doing today, and we didn't want that.
Uplifting youth and giving families something to enjoy are just a few ways her nonprofit, the Unseen Movement Group, has made a visible difference for the last 8 years.
Help with the community as far as giving food away, doing grocery drives, as well as clothes drives, helping people who are in financial bonds, providing those resources for them.
When people feel like they're spinning their wheels, Tammy does what she can to steer them in the right direction.
I want to see those people that nobody else pays attention to.
When there was so much uncertainty at the height of the pandemic, Tammy kept spreading joy through car parades.
Our first one was for a little boy in High Point who was ill. From that, it was every week. Everybody kept asking, can you come and just shower some love? So at that point, we grew from 10 members to 274. People all over 3 different states who just wanted to participate, to shower love.
Out of all the people she's met, she doesn't want to forget a single soul. She starts her morning at her prayer wall, asking for their needs to be met long after they've crossed paths.
One of the things that I always tell people, leave people better than the way you found them. Always leave them with a smile, because people remember not what you said, but what you did.
And Tammy's nonprofit, the Unseen Movement, also helps feed the homeless, provides Christmas for families in need, houses troubled young men, and teaches them life skills so they can become self-sufficient. Parents who have children with special needs know all too well public places are not always easy places for their children to be. Sometimes these locations are made handicapped accessible without a lot of planning.
So one remarkable woman decided children need a place where inclusion is no illusion. Candace Hayes opened an indoor play gym in High Point for people of all ages, all abilities, and all disabilities. It's a judgment-free zone with everything from a gym to a sensory room. And as Chad Tucker shows us, families say Q's Corner is giving them the freedom and peace of mind they've been looking for.
For the past 18 years.
So what are you going to do next, Sean?
This is what Nicole Collins has been looking for her son, Sean.
I wish we had it when he was younger.
Sean has autism, and Q's Corner in High Point is giving him new life.
He's in an environment that he can learn how to do his different, independent goals. And anything from, doing the swings or the trampoline or going upstairs and playing the little games and stuff. I don't have to be right on top of him.
Collins says now that he's older, there is not a lot of places for him to go and experience the sensory input that he craves. But here, he can.
One of the things that is important for Sean is that he does a lot of different exercises throughout the day just to get his body moving. And so, at home we can do push-ups, sit-ups, the elliptical and stuff. But, for him to come here and get the movement of the swing, the climbing, the jumping and stuff, it's really important for him to regulate his body throughout the day.
Q's Corner is an indoor play gym for all, but especially those with mental and physical disabilities.
Inclusion is not an illusion.
Owner Candace Hayes opened it up about a month ago.
We've had parents bring their kids as young as 1 year old, and I want to say the oldest client we had was probably in his late 60s.
She says it's already making a huge impact.
One dad was brought to tears because his son was able to stay in our 360 experience room for 35 minutes, where typically his son did not give his attention to anything, longer than maybe like a few seconds or a couple minutes.
Ready, everyone? Here, people can safely play, learn, and interact right beside kids and adults with all abilities.
We've had kids who have shown an increase in language, kids who have become more social from being in here.
Many families say after opening up here, they are hearing their loved ones speak more. And for some, it's the first time.
After each time, his connection with us is so much better, and his language, he's just spontaneous, speaking more, words to us. And I really attribute it to the sensory input that he's getting throughout the time he's here.
An environment for all to grow.
Q's Corner is located at 1800 North Main Street in High Point, and you can check out the website for pricing and reservations. The address is on your screen, myqscorner.com.
I'm a provider of hope. So that's what it means to me, is that I am really living out my life's passion. My life's passion is to provide hope.
No matter the circumstances, it can and will get better. What a Triad woman is doing to spread that message across the Piedmont, including for parents struggling to find balance.
I received a lot of positive feedback, and I did not expect that.
She's a proud deputy showing people what it takes to wear the uniform. The brave social media post with an inspiring message and her mission to humanize the badge.
Fox 8 is proud to bring you the North Carolina Education Lottery's Educator of the Week, highlighting teachers and administrators who are making a difference in our children's lives. This week, we honor Kamisha McFadden at Ward Elementary School for her dedication to her students, as well as their parents, and always making the classroom a fun place to learn. Congratulations, Kamisha McFadden. Our North Carolina Education Lottery Educator of the Week. Go to myfox8.com and click the Educator link.
Despite national efforts, texting while driving continues to be a major problem. When you look away from the road to text, you run the risk of causing a serious accident, and bikers are especially at risk. Every motorcycle carries a life, so put the phone down. It can wait. I'm Bob Carney, Carolina's biker lawyer. If you text while driving and you hurt one of my bikers, you'll hear from me and my team.
This message is brought to you by the Carney Law Firm.
Trust isn't built in a day. It's built over time. The early hours and the late nights. It's built by doing the work and pushing the limits every day. Because the promises we make are the promises we were built to keep.
During Ram Truck Month, hurry in and get 0% APR financing for 72 months, plus $2,250 total bonus cash on the 2021 Ram 1500.
When it comes to North Carolina Medicaid, you now have different paths to care. NC Medicaid Managed Care lets you choose a health plan with the providers and services best for you. Enroll by May 14th. Just go to ncmedicaidplans.gov or call 833-870-5500. With NC Medicaid Managed Care, all paths lead to better health.
During these unprecedented times, our commitment to our patients and families has never wavered. Hospice of Rockingham County continues to serve those in our community in need, whether that be in a skilled nursing center, assisted living, private home, or our hospice home. For Hospice of Rockingham County, compassionate care will always be essential. If you or someone you love needs care, ask for us by name, Hospice of Rockingham County.
She is a finalist for this year's Remarkable Woman, not just because she wouldn't let ovarian cancer stop her from reaching her goals.
That's right. Dr. Linda McCray earned her Doctor of Psychology degree and then opened counseling offices across the Triad. She's also a problem solver who stepped in when local parents needed help the most.
Even when classrooms were closed.
Hey there, how are y'all doing?
These students didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, lots of learning going on in here.
Because Dr. Linda McCray made sure her doors were open.
Presently, we're doing a remote learning center where we're providing virtual access to studies for young children. Actually came from me understanding my grandsons needed some support, and so we have staff and interns and tutors that are here to provide a safe place for the children to log on to the school system and keep their studies going so they don't fall behind.
And parents could keep going to work. Even though running a learning center isn't her profession,
it was pandemic inspired.
It represents what she's been doing for years, noticing a need and trying to meet it.
I'm a provider of hope. So that's what it means to me, is that I am living out my life's passion. My life's passion is to provide hope.
From that core principle, she became the CEO and founder of Hope Counseling and Consulting Services.
I was made aware through my community work, church work, that people were struggling to handle life issues, be that stress, be that anxiety, depression, whatever.
Outreach that started in her home 7 years ago.
The acronym stands for Healing Our People and Environment.
Has expanded to offices in Reedsville, Thomasville, and 2 in Winston-Salem. No matter why someone walks through the door, her priority is
educating and making people aware of the possibilities, the great possibilities of life, and that you don't have to stay where you are. You can actually be different. You can be better. You can rewrite your story.
Dr. McRae never stopped writing her story even during one of the worst times of her life.
I am a 10-year ovarian cancer survivor.
After surgery and 4 aggressive rounds of chemo,
I'm still astounded, actually, at how great I believe my God is, and that I had the opportunity to survive it.
She persevered.
I think I'm more driven to do whatever it is that I'm passionate, that I am purposed to do.
She spreads hope by reminding people that even when circumstances aren't the greatest,
sometimes life happens.
Just keep letting the pages turn.
Put one foot in front of the other and keep doing what you know that you're purposed to do.
And Linda's story of surviving ovarian cancer is featured on the Centers for Disease Control website. She says women need to listen to their bodies. If something doesn't feel right, dig a little deeper. But above all, know there is life after cancer.
I had the benefit of seeing parts of the world that I might not ever have gone to.
She became a true globetrotter after she retired, but these were more than vacations. What she's done to leave a lasting impact in the Triad and abroad.
This costume character is someone everybody knows.
I love being the Tooth Fairy. I really feel like I am the Tooth Fairy. I've been doing it for over 20 years.
One of Roy's folks knows how to make everyone smile.
I just had to be a backyard All-American, in my head.
When Jennifer King wanted to play football as a little girl, her mom said no way, but no wasn't an option when it came to coaching football, even at the highest level. Find out how she's tackling the game that's dominated by men.
Today, the girls and I would just like to say thank you to the Triad for allowing us to help you furnish your home. If you're like us, we're ready to get back to precedented times. But in the meantime, we're here for you. Maybe you need a new mattress so you can sleep better at night, a new living room or dining room because you're spending more time at home. It could just be it's time for mom and dad to get a lift chair. Whatever you need to do home better, we're here for you. So from our family to yours, and as always, thank you.
Hi, I'm Chad with Pella Windows and Doors, where we are dedicated to providing you with the Pella experience when purchasing new windows for your home. This means one dedicated sales representative to guide you on your buying experience from your very first call through the day of installation. And with 0% financing, Pella has window options to fit any budget. Come visit our Experience Center and see the clear difference Pella has to offer. Pella Windows and Doors, designed and built just for you.
Hart Appliance Center. For over 60 years, providing the personal attention, product knowledge, and reliable service you need before and after the sale.
At Carolina University, we offer flexibility, affordability, and a quality education. Study at your own pace and still graduate in less than 4 years. Learn about our academic programs, on-campus living, and our exceptionally low annual tuition at carolinau.edu.
Save now during Honda's 0% sales event. Hurry to your Honda dealers of the Carolinas today.
I'm Michael Hennessy. Join me and Fox 8 Max Weather Chief Meteorologist Van Denton for the Fox 8 News at 11. We'll have live reports with the most important stories of the day from all across the Piedmont. It's all the news you need at 11 o'clock, plus one last look at tomorrow morning's forecast.
The Fox 8 News at 11. Start local, stay local. Now is the time to help wipe out COVID-19. Go to myfox8.com to find out where you can get your COVID-19 vaccine.
so many incredible women changing lives in the Piedmont Triad. This hour, we are looking at the 4 finalists for this year's Remarkable Woman of the Year.
Dorothy Mason certainly qualifies for that title. She's a retired professor who has left a lasting imprint in the Triad and across the globe.
Dorothy Mason has a natural curiosity about the world.
I liked history. I really kind of wanted, to go in that direction. I also really liked biology.
Always striving to learn more, she earned an undergraduate degree from the Women's College of the University of North Carolina, now UNC Greensboro.
I was awarded my senior year what, for those days, was a fairly generous scholarship for graduate study.
She went to the University of Georgia and UNC Chapel Hill to earn a master's and PhD in geography.
When I was working on my master's at Georgia, I was the only girl, so to speak, I was young, in the department working on a degree. And the same was true in the 60s when I went to Chapel Hill.
Those opportunities were the exception, not the rule for women back then.
I would say a white middle-class girl in the 50s, the pattern was to, if you went to college, go to college, teach or work as a secretary for a couple of years, get married, and that was about it.
Mason enjoyed a fulfilling career as a college professor, spending the majority of it at North Carolina A&T State University.
I went there in the fall of '69. It was a positive experience. I wouldn't have stayed there 28 years if it hadn't been.
When she retired, she finally had the freedom to visit some of the places she taught about.
I traveled like crazy. I went to the Amazon Basin in Brazil. I went to Antarctica. I went to Nepal.
She wanted her experiences to be more than a vacation and got involved with the nonprofit Global Volunteers.
That is me with 3 young sort of junior high in the system in Peru. I was working with young girls in conversational English. I did a project in northern New Mexico working with elementary school children, not on English. They, of course, know English, but they needed help more with math.
All of these accomplishments while being a wife and mother of 2 children. Today, Mason is still active throughout Greensboro, working with a variety of causes, including helping the Triads refugee community.
The friendship, the care for each other is really more important than the amount of English you may teach. It's to demonstrate in a broad sense our love for other people.
Dorothy's family told us she is a quiet force in the center of their family and the community, doing the work but never seeking the accolades. So Dorothy, we want to say thank you for being a remarkable woman.
Well, football remains a male-dominated sport, but a remarkable woman from the Piedmont Triad is helping change that. Jennifer King played basketball and softball at Guilford College and always had a passion for football. She played for the Carolina Phoenix in the Women's Football Alliance. She was a quarterback and wide receiver before making the transition into coaching. Now Jennifer is the Washington football team's assistant running back coach and the first African-American woman to be a full-time coach in the history of the NFL. Fox 8's Michael Hennessy talked with her about breaking barriers and her next big play.
Jennifer King played a lot of sports here in the Triad, growing up in Reedsville.
My family was super supportive, of athletics, whether it was me or my sister.
Her parents let her play basketball, softball.
It's literally always been a part of my life.
They let you play all the sports you wanted to, but one.
Right.
But her favorite sport was always football.
around like 8 or 10 years old, you know, I'm killing it on the playground and in the backyard. But then, you know, all my guy friends, they start playing like organized football on teams, and you know, my mom wouldn't let me start playing with them. So it sucked. You know, I wanted to play too.
She had to settle for playing basketball and softball at Guilford College.
Growing up, you know, I did have interest in being, you know, a police officer, and actually started in college. I was a criminal justice major before I switched over to sport management.
When she graduated, she started coaching basketball, became a High Point police officer.
You want to always be a step ahead of what's going on and being prepared.
And had the chance to put the pads on for the first time.
Oh, it was unbelievable, you know, to actually get out there and play, and something that I wanted to do for so long.
Playing for the Carolina Phoenix for 10 years.
You know, I played quarterback and receiver, and I played some safety here in D.C. last year. So it's been really fun.
A head basketball coach job brought her to Johnson & Wales University in Charlotte, mere blocks from Bank of America Stadium, home of the Carolina Panthers.
Now, obviously, sitting at the table, he was right beside me talking and, you know, doing his thing.
Her chance to break through came at an NFL Women's Forum, in a seat next to Coach Ron Rivera, where she let him know she wanted in.
You know, I think at that moment he kind of, you know, knew who I was and saw that I was serious about it.
2018, Rivera brings King on as an intern wide receivers coach, 2019 intern running backs coach. And when he took the head coaching job with Washington,
he gave me a call and told me he think he had a spot for me, and I flew up the next day.
2020, King becomes a full-year coaching intern for Washington.
Once people really bought into Coach's message and what he was trying to get done, you know, the wins started happening.
Helping lead the team to a playoff berth.
Definitely one of the special moments so far in my coaching career, just enjoying that win with the team afterwards in the locker room.
She hopes it's just the beginning for Washington.
We had one of the youngest teams, if not the youngest team in the NFL.
And her promotion to assistant running backs coach, becoming the first African-American female assistant position coach in the history of the league.
That guys, they don't care, you know, that you're a female or whatever. All they care about is if you can help them.
A sign her influence is also in its infancy.
I know there might be some bumps in the road, but if it's something that you really want to do, you know, really buckle down and be willing to be so good that you can't be denied, and just keep pushing.
Jennifer previously coached basketball as an assistant coach at Greensboro College while working as a police officer with the High Point Police Department.
A local sheriff's deputy just 2 years into her career, already inspiring people with her bravery and honesty. She recently opened up about how a challenging childhood encouraged her to pursue a better future and launched her career in law enforcement.
Deputy Sanchez is a firm believer that if you do good, good will come to you.
I've always tried to treat everybody with respect and the same, and that's just how I live my life.
She strives to set that example every day she puts on her uniform to serve the people of Randolph County. She wants to humanize the badge.
Just be a positive influence.
In this social media post, Deputy Sanchez shared why her call to duty is personal.
My mother escaped domestic violence, so it's just something that I've been around my whole childhood, and I saw how officers impacted my mother's life, and I wanted to be, I guess, an impact to somebody else.
She says the violence she witnessed was related to her dad's alcoholism.
I remember leaving in the middle of the night in a Greyhound bus with 3 suitcases, with no money, basically, escaping my dad. I know that sounds really harsh and really crazy, but a lot of people go through stuff like that, and I didn't realize it till I started working.
Her challenging upbringing didn't stop her from pursuing a better future. In her post, she talks about understanding what it's like to come from nothing and working hard, waiting tables, and going to school.
My old school director, he really influenced me, and he's one of the people who told me, hey, you shouldn't be ashamed of what you went through, and he encouraged me throughout my whole law enforcement career.
Now, she uses her story to encourage others and show them that even a painful past can serve a great purpose.
You don't really expect to make an impact in somebody's life, but when you see it and hear it, it's really awesome.
Deputy Sanchez says she's especially proud of her mother's strength. She overcame domestic violence and worked hard to help her achieve the life she has today.
I don't think people realize how many hats and things that not just women, but as teachers, what we wear.
Double duty, serving children and the community, is all in a day's work for one Piedmont teacher, where she gets the strength to cover all the bases, even when it seems like there aren't enough hours in the day.
Not only is she a pediatric dental assistant,
Hey boys and girls, I'm the Tooth Fairy.
she also dresses up like the Tooth Fairy.
I feel like this is my gift, working with children.
One of Roy's folks is living a fairy tale.
A bus driver honored not just for decades of service, but also for the historic first she made right here in the Triad. We'll show you how she is driving into history.
With trucks arriving daily at American Furniture Warehouse, we are fully stocked at Greensboro's largest furniture showroom. Over 300 recliners from Catnapper and Flex Steel in stock. Mattresses from Sealy and Kingstown in stock. Living rooms in stock. New dining rooms and bedrooms in stock. Power lift chairs in stock. Don't wait weeks or years. Get it today. No interest and no credit check financing at Greensboro's largest furniture showroom. 3900 Westgate City Boulevard, next to the Elephant and Giraffe in Greensboro. And as always, thank you.
These days, it seems like the future has been put on pause, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's time to take back your future at GTCC. Whether you're looking to start fresh or get back on track, we're ready with online learning, support services, and available financial aid, all designed to make education more accessible right now. Plus, you can choose from more than 80 programs, including training in today's hottest industries. Let's take back your future at GTCC.
Allergy Partners of the Piedmont remains determined to help treat the allergy symptoms of you and your loved ones during these current times. Our experienced allergists and asthma doctors continue to give diagnosis and treatment to patients across the Triad. And our shot clinic remains open by appointment. Learn more by visiting allergypartners.com or go to our Facebook page to learn more about how you can schedule your appointment today. Allergy Partners of the Piedmont, here to help.
During these unprecedented times, our commitment to our patients and families has never wavered. Hospice of Rockingham County continues to serve those in our community in need, whether that be in a skilled nursing center, assisted living, private home, or our hospice home. For Hospice of Rockingham County, compassionate care will always be essential. If you or someone you love needs care, ask for us by name, Hospice of Rockingham County.
Think about it. You wouldn't take your motorcycle to a car mechanic, would you? So why hire an attorney who doesn't ride? As a lawyer, I know your rights. As a biker, I understand. You have a right to be on the road. We will make sure they respect your rights. I'm Bob Carney, Carolina's biker lawyer. For over 35 years, my team has been helping injured bikers from accident through recovery. I've got your back.
Time now to meet our fourth finalist for the title of Remarkable Woman.
Last but not least, meet Denise Balzer, a Piedmont math and science teacher who balances a lot more than equations.
One assignment in either science or social studies, and then you have one elective each week.
There's nothing Denise Balzer wouldn't do for her students.
I love working with the kids. I mean, people don't realize how much we fall in love with them.
Boys and girls she considers.
They're my babies.
She's a 7th grade math and science teacher at Holmes Middle School in Eden.
I went to school here. Now I'm back to where I started. Wow. And I love it. Conduction, good. So that conduction, and what's happening with conduction?
No matter the challenge.
For a lot of them, math is not their favorite subject.
Her passion plus patience equals priceless results.
To see their face when they understand something is just amazing.
She's been here for 16 years. Despite how much time passes, she still celebrates the victories.
I got an email from one that I had last year. Yesterday, she's decided to apply for early college. Told me I had inspired her to apply, and that's what it's about.
Teaching during COVID was a learning curve for everyone. If a student were behind, it wouldn't be unusual for Miss Balzer to make a home visit.
I want them to be successful.
As much time as she dedicates to students, this is only part of her day. Once school is out, she goes from the classroom,
dry, it's not raining yet,
to the checkout line. She's also an office assistant at the Food Lion on East Meadow Road.
I get lots of hugs from my kids when they come in. I have lots of parent conferences and they'll see me and they'll say, well, how is so-and-so doing? And, you know.
Between her two roles, a workday can be from 7:30 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night.
I don't think people realize how many hats and things that not just women, but as teachers, what we wear.
But she's not complaining. The way she sees it, it's all just part of the equation of what she's called to do.
But they say, how do you do that? And I don't know. I mean, through the grace of God is all I know. You know, He's the one that gives me the strength and leads me in. You know, I feel like when He's not ready for me to do that anymore, He's going to let me know. So.
And Denise was nominated last year for Teacher of the Year in Rockingham County.
Well, March is reserved as a time to celebrate and highlight the accomplishments of women. Fox 8's Charles Ewing introduces us to a remarkable woman from Greensboro who put the city's transit agency on a new route.
Every day, Greensboro Transit Agency buses leave the downtown depot carrying passengers across the city. For operator Elizabeth McKinnon, or Liz, her time with GTA began 40 years ago when Duke Power operated city buses and was looking for female drivers.
Everyone welcomed me in as a bus operator. Most of the men that worked there were like father figures.
McKinnon was also the first African-American female driver.
I was honored and very humbled all at the same time.
Since she was making history, McKinnon often participated in GTA's Black Heritage Ride, a city bus that combined transportation and history.
I had found something that I enjoyed doing.
But after 40 years, McKinnon's next stop is retirement. She's hoping her 40-year journey will encourage other women to pursue careers in male-dominated fields.
If I could do it these many years, if it's something that you truly desire to do, with God's help, you can do it as well.
In Greensboro, Charles Ewing, Fox 8 News.
During McKinnon's retirement ceremony, she thanked her managers and co-workers and James Walden Jr. Walden was an operator for Duke Power and encouraged McKinnon to become a bus driver.
The Tooth Fairy is a bit of folklore that goes back as far as the year 1200. A child loses a tooth, puts it under their pillow before bedtime, and the Tooth Fairy leaves money. The tale has changed a bit over the years, but fast forward to today, and there's a remarkable woman bringing the Tooth Fairy to life. And as Chad Tucker found out, she's one of Roy's folks in disguise.
Hey boys and girls, I'm the Tooth Fairy.
Her real name is Lori Wilson.
I love being the Tooth Fairy. I really feel like I am the Tooth Fairy. I've been doing it for over 20 years.
In her costume persona, she spreads a message that's a combination of a love for reading and dental hygiene.
I go everywhere. I've actually been at the Children's Museum, birthday parties. It's just wherever they want the Tooth Fairy, I go and do that.
She's had a career as a pediatric dental assistant and now teaches others how to do the job.
Well, it all started when I was a little girl. My cousin took me to work with her one day, and she was the county hygienist for Alamance County, and I would go with her and help her do dental presentations for the schools. And I just loved it.
She was destined to become the Tooth Fairy.
I feel like this is my gift, working with children, that God gave me this gift of working with children and just making them feel loved. It is just the best feeling to be a blessing.
Her experiences have led her to become a children's book author.
This is my first book, Tooth Fairy in Disguise, and it's about the Tooth Fairy getting very sad because she started collecting teeth with a lot of cavities. Boys and girls were having a lot of cavities in their teeth.
Lori says that she and the character in the book have a lot in common.
The Tooth Fairy living the double life. tooth fairy at night and a dental assistant during the day.
She hopes the book will leave a lasting impression.
My goal is through this book is full of love. It promotes literacy, the love of reading, packaged with great dental habits. So I'm just hoping to inspire children to use their imagination, to dream big, and to love to read books like I did when I was a little girl.
Lori Wilson is living a real-life fairy tale.
Don't forget to brush your teeth tonight. Sweet dreams, boys and girls.
To learn more about Lori, visit toothfairyindisguise.com. She has 2 different books, one of them translated into Spanish.
Yeah, she even has a Tooth Fairy coloring book. You'll also find her books on Amazon and in major bookstores.
We've met a lot of incredible women over the last hour, but only one can be the Remarkable Woman of the Year. We'll reveal our winner next, plus the surprise she's giving to the other 3 finalists.
If this is your kind of day, and this is your kind of SUV, then this is your time to buy. It's the Built for Spring sales event. Right now, get great deals and great offers on a Ford SUV, built for life in motion, built for life's adventures, and built wild. Make the most of your spring in a new Ford, America's best-selling brand. Hurry, it's the Built for Spring sales event. Now get Escape with 0 for 60 plus a no-charge 5-year, 100,000-mile powertrain care plan. Only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
1 in 16 Americans will be diagnosed with lung cancer. If you or someone you love is that one, we are here for you. The Wake Forest Baptist Comprehensive Cancer Center, 400 physicians and researchers, including lung cancer specialists dedicated to offering the latest treatment options for you and your lung cancer. Because more specialists plus more innovative treatments equals more survivors. The Wake Forest Baptist Comprehensive Cancer Center, because where you start treatment matters.
My name's Chris Lester, and this is my wife,
Ashley Lester.
And we opened Natty Greens Brewing Company in downtown Greensboro in 2004. We started our renovation last year. We renovated our entire space, top to bottom, first floor, second floor, and up here, the 3rd floor. I mean, downtown Greensboro is exciting. There's always lots of people here. There's lots of energy in downtown. We're pro downtown Greensboro. We think it's just going to get better and better. I'm Chris.
And I'm Ashley.
And we're Natty Greens Brewing Company.
And this is my DGSO.
Everything in our garage is inspired by our racing spirit. Race in for a great deal on the Honda CR-V. Only at the Honda Dream Garage Spring Event.
We have really met some incredible women over the past hour. Each one is generous, amazing, and talented, and truly changing lives for the better.
That is so true, Katie. And I'm telling you, it was a hard choice. But we're excited to announce that Denise Balzer is the Piedmont Triad's Remarkable Woman of the Year.
You are the Piedmont's 2021 Remarkable Woman. Just tell us how that feels.
Unbelievable. I don't know what to say. I mean, after, like I said, after looking at, and watching these other ones, it's just, I don't feel like it should be. I mean, they are remarkable people. I mean, they've done amazing things, and I'm just very impressed, and I feel very humbled, and I'm speechless, which is rare.
You can tell that you love what you do, and you said that many times throughout the interview.
They're my children. They're my babies. I treat them just like I would if they were actually, I had birthdays. I mean, they're my children. And that's the way I look at them, as if they're my children, because, I know what I would want for mine. This is what I want for them.
Ms. Balls, there's something I didn't share in your story. We focused on your teaching and how you're also an office assistant at the local Food Lion. I didn't talk about what you've been through personally. 2020 was a rough year for just your family.
I lost my dad, and it was a year ago in December, and I was always close to my dad. And the one thing when he got sick, I had prayed was, God, just don't let him suffer. And he answered that prayer, not the way I wanted, but and not in the timetable that I wanted, but he did. And I'm just thankful that he did not have to suffer and see that and go through that. And then, let's see, my car burned up in January. And then in February, I found my sister dead. So I'm glad my dad didn't have to go through that too, because I think that would have been devastating for him. My mom is handling it. She's handling it really well. I'm just impressed with how well she is doing with handling all of that.
I think that really speaks to your strength. You had so much going on, and people probably didn't even know you had all that going on, but you continue to persevere and serve the children.
The only thing that I can say is that God is my strength. Without him, I wouldn't be able to do any of it.
Oh, Ms. Balzer, it's such a pleasure to see you. On behalf of Fox 8, congratulations on being a remarkable woman.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
Wow, everyone needs a teacher like Denise Balzer in their life.
That's right. And it also shows you, Katie, you really don't know what people are going through. They persevere, you see them on the job, but they can have so many other challenges behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, and she did a really nice job of explaining she's in really good company with this nod as one of the triads, you know, remarkable women. And as the remarkable woman of the year, Denise wins $1,000 for the charity of her choice.
And to prove why she's this year's winner, she had a surprise for all the finalists when we met on a Zoom call.
I asked them if it had to go to one charity, and they said no. So I asked them if they could split it into 4 and each one of us choose a charity.
Oh my gracious, really?
I mean, y'all are amazing, and I just think it's the right thing to do because I just feel like you are so deserving, and I feel like y'all deserve it more than I do. And I thought if I could share this with y'all, that would be a blessing to me as well.
Thank you. Oh my gracious. Thank you.
Wow, what an incredible gesture.
And now we're all crying, right?
I know. So, Kate, I got to tell you, I love sharing the women's stories, but that was my favorite moment.
That's incredible. And this is why they were all nominated as remarkable women. I mean, they're amazing. Well, certainly a big thank you from Fox 8 and Nexstar Media to all of the remarkable women here in the Triad. Mothers, grandmothers, sisters, daughters, wives, partners, and friends. You help make the world a better place.
Please know that you are so appreciated, and we hope you'll take a moment to thank the special women in your life for what they do day in and day out. Have a great night.